Matt, hello, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat to me today.
Thanks for having me. How are
No,
you?
yeah, no, I'm really great. Uh, Obviously, the last 24 hours have been a whirlwind for you. How have you processed everything, watching the show, living back your final episode?
Oh, it's there's nothing to process. It was fun to watch. It's really interesting to actually see yourself on there, knowing what happened, but being there on the island, you still don't even know what happened. Even with your own tribe, there are conversations going on behind your back, and you don't know what's going on with the other people. So to watch it, it's almost like seeing it for the first time. It's kind of a surreal experience.
Yeah, it's so weird. I often think about it in this context. Imagine if you're in a workplace and suddenly you're hearing all the stories about yourself in the background that you don't get to be privy to. It's such a weird experience, kind of like yeah, it's a weird experience for anyone to kind of go through.
Absolutely, weird in a fantastic way. It was just an awesome thing to do, and I'd go back out there in a heartbeat. I'd move to that island if they'd let me.
Look, the that whole part of Fiji, the Manuka Islands, Fiji in general, the people of Fiji. I've been to Fiji. It's incredible. It's one of the it's if people who haven't actually been to Fiji, you should go. It is one of the just most beautiful, amazing places in the entire world.
Absolutely. It blew me away laying there at night with zero light pollution, looking up at the stars. It was like the Milky Way, somebody just slathered paint across the sky. It was so bright. It was incredible.
Yeah, no, I love that. So interesting. It's so interesting on Survivor. Like, you're in your early 50s. I think you're 52 now. I don't know how old you were
Correct.
when you played the game. And it's interesting because, like, to me, that's not old. But on Survivor, it is almost seen as like you're this whole generation removed from everyone else. I know reading some of your pre-game stuff, that was something that you felt with the younger cast, and especially in more modern Survivor, this new era. I do feel like we've skewed millennial Gen Z. How did you feel heading out there as one of the in quotation marks older players, and how were you trying to bridge that gap, I guess, between yourself and the others?
I absolutely was the oldest guy out there. I was joking with Jeff about it. He says, I'm older than you are. I said,
Yeah.
you're right, pros, but if you fell in the water, I would be the oldest guy on this island. And I think I got lucky with the mix of people that was on my tribe and on the island as a whole, because a lot of those guys had never slept outside. And camping, fishing, hiking, fires, all of that. That's what I used to do for fun. So that was easy for me, and I was able to, I guess, fill a need. And I was the guy who was catching the crabs, catching the fish, lighting the fires, getting things done, and providing value. So I think I don't know if that's specific to my age, but my upbringing, I felt like, oh, this is great. These guys kind of need me, and I fit right in and created a spot for myself on the tribe. I didn't feel like I was ever in danger of being voted out with my original Hina six. Like, and which was a relief. We're going out there knowing that I was going to be one of the oldest, if not the oldest guy there. So it worked out nicely.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about the skill set stuff. I can't remember who said it on the episode, but someone commented about like they were living the life of luxury, literally listing everything that you were providing without mentioning your name, which is interesting because that role is so vital in modern Survivor when you don't have starting price, you don't have like the amenities that they used to have. It is actually a really important aspect. It's interesting you do talk about your original Hina tribe there. We saw the dynamic. It looked as if maybe there was a core three. I don't know where MC quite stood through the edit, as you referenced earlier about seeing stuff you don't necessarily see when you're out there. How confident were you that you had a three, let alone a four at that moment? And had you gone to a tribal council, how do you think it might have played out?
Um, Initially, well, one of the things that's interesting is so much happens. We're out there, all day interacting, and they can only fit so much of it into a 90-minute episode.
Yeah.
And a lot of it doesn't lend itself to the storyline, so it doesn't make the final cut. But Steven and I were really close. Within an hour of stepping foot on the island, we had a final three alliance. We were gonna go all the way, and that never really made it to the screen. So I felt good that Steven and I were solid. Christine and I were solid. The MC thing kind of fell apart where I really, really genuinely wanted to work with her. And when Christina and Steven and I created a three, the first thing out of my mouth was, I want MC to be a part of this, and immediately went to her. But even 30 seconds later, her interpretation was, well, you guys are already three, and now you're bringing me in as a fourth. And I can see her thought process there. So she was a little bit wary of me, but I really don't believe I was in danger of being voted out if we went to tribal.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's like, well, I ate right, so I didn't get the flu. You can't really prove that because it was never tested. But I really felt great about the original Hina 6.
Look, as someone who just had the flu, I eat well. I still got the flu, so I can never guarantee. It's so interesting though. It's such a flawed question as well. I ask it because I have to ask it, but it is a flawed question because the time that you were there, there's multiple tribal councils, and at any point during those tribal councils, who knows where their social dynamics are going to fall as well. And that's one of the advantages, I guess, of having not an easier pre-merge period, but having a period where you're not necessarily going to tribal council, you don't get to test the waters. Obviously, when you're sitting back and you're watching the Keller tribe lose consecutively, what kind of discussion happens on camp when you're seeing this tribe just decimated in front of you? What is there like? I know there was a moment I felt like in the last episode previous to your one, there was almost like sympathy or empathy towards what was happening over there. Like what's chatted about amongst you guys when you're seeing them just decimated?
Well, obviously, you would think the best way to approach Survivor would be get on the island and win every challenge, but it in a weird way kind of creates a disadvantage. You're not really getting the experience, and you're not really playing Survivor. It was like kumbaya on our beach. We were camping, we were having a great time. We kept winning, and after maybe the third one, that's when it really sunk in that this is great for us, but I wonder what it is like over on that Kella beach. It's got to be miserable for those guys. And we never had the opportunity to test our relationships and to see really where the loyalties lie. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. And it's so interesting for me. Like you look at these, especially the modern era Survivor with three tribes, and you get down, you've got these groupings that have been two in this situation or three historically, and they go to a swap. And they seemingly do really well they get through that last little pre-merge bit into the merge and can go run deep. And I think it's really fascinating because I get that there's almost like the rivalry between the two large tribes that they want to take each other out. But what you're also seeing is people like Sophie, who I think is doing an amazing job, who come in, they're battle hardened, and they're kind of seen as like not as threatening, yet they're the one who's avoided tribal council after tribal council after tribal council after tribal council, and clearly have skills in not getting voted out, and should be the obvious target. For you, when you're seeing your decision to come together, and you got Jason there, who you haven't mentioned, and I don't know what that relationship is like. What was that relationship like with Jason?
Jason, you asked earlier about the original Hina 6 and where I fell and how I felt. I'll tell you, if we went to tribal on day one, it was probably Jason who would have been the mark. But after hanging out with the guy for a couple of days on the beach, there's no way I could write his name down. He's the coolest guy you will ever know. I hope I'm friends with Jason for decades to come. And I guess I'm kind of asking a question on your behalf.
Yeah, please.
Leading the conversation. When we did merge, And Sophie, you said should have been the target. She was the one that was tried and tested and
Yeah.
had survived these tribals. Yeah, she was not even a consideration because the mentality was still tribes. It was Uli versus Hina, and we've got 4 against 2, and it was just a no brainer. We're going to take one of those guys out. It's Jason or Matt. Pick one. They never even considered Sophie,
Yeah.
and you can kind of you can understand the thinking behind that.
I do get the logic, but I'm also just like petrified of these people who make it through multiple tribal councils. They kind of scare me. So as a gamer, I'm scared of them. The decision to look at Nate as well, I was a little bit surprised on paper before necessarily seeing the interactions. I was surprised on paper because obviously you guys, like you talked about being the older player out there. He's shown in the episodes that he's feeling the generation gap as well.
Right.
Was there a vibe that maybe you guys could come together, or what was it about him specifically that was like, no, he's the one I'm going to try and
Yeah, it
target
was
and call the wedge?
it was wrong place, wrong time. In a
Yeah,
different world, I would have loved to have worked with Nate. I think we would have been great together. We would have brought this older guy dynamic to it, and I think we would have played off each other well. And I didn't target Nate. It's nothing that Nate did. It's just my my path forward was Jawan felt like he was on the bottom, and I was trying to flip him to make a big move. And from what I saw in the immunity challenges and from the information that Jawan was feeding me, Nate was in charge over there.
yeah,
So my pitch to Jawan was, hey, you want to mix it up? You want to not be on the bottom? Take out the top. Let's take out Nate, and it's going to be your move on your resume. It's going to be magnificent. It's going to really shake things up. You'll no longer be on the bottom. So that was my pitch, and it had nothing to do with I didn't like Nate or I wanted Nate gone. It was just that was my attempt to get Jawan on board. And
yeah. Like it doesn't happen in this situation, and this is the thing. You gotta throw things out there and see what can happen. I think I don't know. I don't know how you feel, Matt, but I always feel like if you play Survivor, the worst thing you can do is go home with regret that you don't try something, especially when you're in a situation where historically you're in the worst spot. Like it's a 50-50 spot, really. It's not the easiest, which is so hard. I saw some stuff. I think you spoke to Mike Bloom about this in the preseason that I read, and I don't know if you've talked about it at all, but the finance stuff, hiding that from your, I guess, discussions, but then like releasing it in the episode and talking about it. I always find that so fascinating with people, why they care so broadly about what people have done or do. Like it doesn't. To me, intelligence isn't defined by a job. Like we've met plenty of dumb people who have positions of responsibility. So I'm always fascinated by that. For you, what was it about keeping that a secret? And then there's a second part, but I'll ask you that in a second.
well, I really didn't think it was a big deal. I didn't think it
Yeah,
mattered, and I kind of thought I'm not going to hide anything. I'll go out there, wear my what do they wear it on my cuff with I don't know
on your
the term,
sleeve.
but
Yeah,
yeah, and I was there for 8 days, and nobody ever bothered to ask me. Nobody had any uh, queries about it until that Savannah asked me, and I thought, well, in retrospect, I should have said I just do day labor. I don't have a high school diploma. I'm nobody. I can't spell my own name. That might have been a better route.
yeah,
After I saw last night's episode with Savannah, he's a sociopath.
yeah.
I can't connect those dots. How does being a stockbroker work me into a sociopath? But when I saw it, I thought, well, of course, I'm playing Survivor. Any information at all, somebody's going to grab it, manipulate it, weaponize it, and use it to steer the game the direction they want it to go. And I should have kept my mouth shut, but I was kind of like proud of what I've done. We can chat about it. That was
Yeah.
a million years ago, but yeah, she really ran with it and tried to make it look like, oh, this is all the reason we need to get rid of this guy.
It's a real think tank. There needs to be some kind of like global survivor think tank about what is the most non-threatening career path that you can say that you have done out there, because I feel like finance pro is hardly a challenging one, nor is it something that other people haven't been. You're 100% correct. I think people pick on things that they see as a leverage to potentially like a catalyst to get people out. Like she's a journalist, but my second point, and I'm glad you raised it about Savannah. Are people in finance sociopaths? Is that a factor, or is that just a myth?
You know what I took away from her approach is and through life experience, I would much rather hang out with a blue collar crowd. I
Yeah,
don't think finance has anything to do with it. It's just the white collar, the professional environment, and you could lump in, attorneys and salespersons and doctors and everything into that white collar. They're a different breed, and I can kind of see the argument she was trying to make it is this guy's smarter than he's letting on,
yeah.
and we need to be aware of what he's capable of. But I don't think it was necessarily finance that did it. I could have said I'm a real estate agent, and she would have done the same thing. It's like, oh my god, we got to.
Matt, I'm gonna let you go in a second. I'm just gonna ask you two rapid fire ones. That one just prompted me to ask you. Obviously, old school survivor, white collar, no collar, blue collar. What color are you?
I would throw my name in the blue collar
Love that.
arena at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a good one. For me, I'm someone who preaches gratitude, practices it daily. It's something that's really resonant with me as a person. I think it's so important to you know be grateful for the life that we have. For you, having had this survivor experience, what are you grateful for?
uh, just even getting the call.
Yeah,
It's just an honor and a privilege that they even cast me on the show. If I'd have gone home day one, I'd be proud that I was ever there, to begin with. And I wish I'd have gone further than I did, but the 8 days was a fantastic experience, and something I'll carry with me until my dying days, and I'll always look back and think, "Wow, I did it. I was there." Very few people ever get the opportunity, and it was
yeah.
it was it was just amazing.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. It's such a rare feat for the millions upon millions of people on their couch who watch Survivor every Wednesday night, and to be one of the people, the very few people who get to be picked to play, is such a huge honor. You have that two buffs for life now as well, and you should be really proud of yourself. And in terms of being cast, I think it's really clear why you were cast. I think you have a great look, really stand out. You're a really interesting character. And I get some Rupert vibes, to be honest. I don't know if anyone said that to you, but I definitely get some Rupert vibes from you. So I love that. It's such a throwback. I love casting that isn't just formulaic. It isn't just Gen Z millennial. It's a bit different, and it thinks outside the square. And yeah, congrats on playing a good game. You got unlucky. I think that's the ultimate part. You actually got unlucky.
Yeah, I think to win Survivor, you need to get lucky two or
Yeah,
three times in the process,
great.
and it's not that I didn't get lucky. I got the opposite of lucky when I drew
Yeah.
that buff and looked around and thought, "Ooh, this is going to be hard to dig out of this one. It's two on four here," and it could have happened. I could have done it, and it would have been amazing. But it was a tough spot, and here I am. Everyone else is still out there, so you know how it played out.
Yeah, no, thanks. And thanks for coming on, Matt.